Good morning. I'm Reverend Lydia Janacek, and welcome to Healing Light Fellowship Church. We are a spiritualist church that strives to understand and comply with the physical, mental, and spiritual laws of nature, which are the laws of God. This morning, I'm going to talk about why we all came here. One of the biggest questions I'm asked over and over, almost every day for the past 20 years, is what is my spiritual purpose? What am I supposed to be doing here, and why? At some point in our lives, we all of us have experienced a loss of a loved one, or having awakened to a feeling of fleeting nature of life in some other way. We question the meaning of our lives. The monotone of life, or the challenges of life, seem to fade into background as more significant questions loom over us. When we start to question, we are at the beginning of our awakening and the search has begun to find the true purpose in our lives. I have gone into meditation many times and asked myself as well about this question. This is the answer that I got. We're all children of God, which makes us all brothers and sisters. And all is connected, including the plants and the animals. We are to serve our fellow man with love, kindness, and to be humble while doing it. To be godly and to love unconditionally as God loves us. Buddha states that man is the highest fruit on the tree of evolution. It is for man to realize his position in nature and understand the true meaning of his or her life. We as humans can be so educated. We can put a man on the moon and discover amazing things in science for medical research and so much more. But yet, we as humans struggle to accept God is within us, and that we have all the knowledge we need within ourselves to make ourselves truly happy. We're walking around ignorant, as if we are lost, trying to find ourselves and trying to figure out what we're here to do. Look around how beautiful the trees and the flowers are. Despite the rain today, that fed the water, that watered the trees and the flowers. We have so much nature, from the ants to the largest beast. Did you know the smallest known adult insect is a parasitic wasp? These tiny wasps are often called fairy flies. Males are wingless and so small that we can hardly see them with the human eye. Without insects, our lives would be vastly different. Insects pollinate many of our fruits, flowers, and vegetables. We would not have much of the produce that we enjoy and rely on without the pollinating services of these insects. Not to mention honey, beeswax, silk, and other things that the insects provide for us. So even the tiniest insect that God made has a purpose. Think about our oceans, the mountains and the deserts, all the way to the rainforest. Think about all the things that God has created. Not one of them are imperfect. All are exactly the way they're supposed to be. All serve a purpose, just like you and me. God is within us and working, just as the song said. So why would you think we came here without a purpose? We all made the choice to reincarnate to this lifetime. And if you're sitting in these chairs, you all agree to connect in this lifetime in some way or another to each other for each one of us here. There is no coincidences. You're in these chairs and listening to this sermon because you're supposed to be. We all came here to learn the lessons we may have not gotten the last time or several lifetimes ago. Possibly some new lessons our souls need to experience. In the process, our purpose is to get closer to God by the means of service, being gracious to one another, to love, and to be non-judgmental. That isn't just once or twice or when it feels right because someone is treating you right. It's 24/7, even when you're tired, hurting, or feel you have been wronged. A true test is when you're in a lesson and something or someone is pushing your every button, and we can't seem to understand why it's happening. Maybe it's a loss of someone or a loss of a job. Let's say someone uses their free will to do something not in the highest good, and it affects you. Your health takes a turn that you didn't see coming. Maybe a family member becomes sick, or a child is born with possibly devastating outcomes to us. How we react to all of this is a choice. Keeping the faith and staying on track with God, remembering His unconditional love and that we're never, ever alone. He walks with us. Maybe someone is crossing boundaries with their actions. Can you forgive them? Can you move past it now? That doesn't mean that you can't put boundaries up or even remove yourself from someone in your life. But before doing so, hopefully you have communicated your feelings and allowed them to communicate theirs with respect and kindness, with open mindfulness and keeping the ego consciousness out of the situation. Maybe those lessons are a part of your purpose to teach as well as learn, possibly to communicate and forgive. Whatever the lessons are, with every situation we are placed in, there are lessons. Whether or not we recognize that we're in a lesson is the question. That only happens if your awareness at that moment is on or off. Once we do recognize it, we can emphasize the moment with the I am in us. Remembering we are children of God, and remembering that God in me is the same God in you. So if you hurt someone's soul, you're hurting your own soul. You ask, how is this my life purpose? Part of the path in finding our life purpose is living it every single day, being the child of God. Think about reacting, responding, or taking a hit from it. How should we respond to the situation at hand? Take a step back. When calling ourselves spiritual beings, we should not just be talking the talk, but walking the walk. To become more enlightened means we become more of a beacon of light. Depending how we respond, react, or choose to see the lessons that appear around us will determine whether we move closer to our soul's advancement or moving our soul further away. And remember, if there is a lesson going on and you're close enough to see it, you're a part of it. If you're exposed to the lesson, there is something to learn. It's not just their lesson, that means it's yours too. For example, let's say you're on vacation and there's 4 people. Maybe you're in close quarters and maybe 2 of those people are fighting all week. You have nothing to do with the current arguments, but it's frustrating to you. Maybe you see one person is picking on the other person, finding fault all week, and making rude comments to the other. You see, if we react negatively instead of positively to the situation, we can create several more lessons before us. It's like a domino effect. Not saying anything about how it makes you feel can also be a lesson, because you're internalizing your emotions, where you end up with dis-ease. And we all know dis-ease causes disease. But if you speak your truth kindly and respectfully and hopefully be heard, but also listen with an open mind and heart, hopefully all will get the lesson. The whole purpose in life is to get closer to our Father. As we do that, we become closer to the I am within us, which is our purpose. Essentially, the first steps toward finding our purpose in life means being open to connections both with things bigger than you and with yourself. Being good to others not only invites them to be good to us in return, but also simply taps into the human desire to do good. Human beings are wired to care for one another. When we do, we invite peace into our lives. Have you ever held yourself back from doing something you loved? Have you ever engaged in negative self-talk? These things hold you back and keep you from grabbing hold of your purpose, even when you know exactly what it is. Be willing to start working with yourself and accepting who you are without criticism. The willingness to love, appreciate, and cooperate with all parts of yourself sets the stage for everything else. In the New Traditional Version of the Bible, 1 John chapter 4, verse 16, it states, "And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them." So in other words, if we can love as He loves us, we become closer to Him. Try and sit quietly, feel, sense, and hear. The thoughts you think are not just by chance. They are within you for a reason, for a purpose, for a destiny you are called to fulfill. That destiny is unique to you. So listen to the inner voice that drives you, that you don't always understand. You realize the light of who you really are. We are not the physical body we inhabit, but are part of the infinity intelligence of all creation, searching to get back to the higher source. When you find the courage and listen to that inner calling, and really listen to that inner voice within, that's when your life begins to have purpose. You'll establish a set of values, principles, and beliefs that give life meaning to you, and then begin using them to guide the decisions and actions you take. Spiritual purpose is not connection to anything material. It doesn't involve your career or where you live. It's following your inner guidance and listening to what others have to say and having empathy for their experiences and emotions. Part of being open involves taking other people's perspectives into account and always looking for the good, even those where goodness is not immediately apparent. Practicing empathy, compassion, and forgiveness, being humble, being aware, and in the moment. These are some ways to find inner peace and love. Surround yourself with spiritual art, music, do meditation, yoga, or prayer. Keep a journal, writing down your thoughts every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes or so. It can also help you work out spiritual issues. These methods can help get you closer to finding your spiritual purpose. Keep in mind that everyone is unique, and there will not be two of us learning the same lessons at any given moment in time. All our lives are individual to us, but the end goal is to love as God loves us. We came to learn and achieve grace. Also, it's important to realize that spiritual purpose is about living by the set of values that make your journey through life better. It's not about the ultimate destination. It's about recognizing that our human existence has a purpose, that we are here to grow spiritually and to know God, to love God, and to have love for all. We're here to learn and get back to our source. When we find our soul's purpose, we recognize our true self, and then we will merge our soul with spirit. One of the best ways to experience this is with meditation. Once you have felt the higher power through meditation, you can't do anything but embrace our spiritual purpose to work, live, and serve our God. There is no place for doubt once you have been awakened. It brings new meaning into your life. To get to this bliss, we have to commit. If we're scattered and not focused, your meditations will be as well. So stay calm and find peace within to allow your mind, body, and spirit to connect completely. Taking your focus from things that don't matter to the higher force and into the light. God's love uplifts us and gives us meaning to our lives. Especially when we are at our lowest, when we do this regularly, fear, anxiety, loneliness, and insecurity disappear. They're replaced with feelings of wholeness and peacefulness. Once our unconscious and our conscious becomes fully aware of our purpose, we start to eat, breathe, and live it. We find that peace. We find serenity. We find love and joy in our lives. And we can share all that with everyone around us. Thank you. God bless.